So we're different colors, and we're different breeds, and different people have different needs. It's obvious you hate me, though I've done nothing wrong. I never even met you, so what could I have done? I can't understand what makes a man hate another man. Help me understand. People are people, so why should it be you and I get along so awfully? This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, deep in the bowels of our underground layer, bringing humankind together, singing Kumbaya while we kill Marxism softly with our song, How You Doing?
I'm doing okay this week here. Not super angry like
really?
Normal.
You're not watching baseball then, or?
Well, I get angry at baseball once in a while. I'd rather watch a game from the 40s or something.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Jay, how can you? I really cannot watch. It's hard to watch games with no fans.
Yes.
It's just really with cardboard cutouts of Larry King and Johnny Carson in the background. I'm just going, what in the world? I mean, I prefer the radio, to be honest, right now.
Yeah.
Than watching it. It's depressing to watch it with no fans. It's really depressing.
Yeah.
So now the song.
Yes.
Sounds familiar again.
Yeah, it should.
So do I get any credit for it sounding familiar?
No. No. There's only 12 tones in music, so it's
that ain't one of the 12. Okay.
There's
I don't know. People something you said, but I don't know what it. I don't know who sings it.
People are people. Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode.
I think we mentioned it either last week or the week before, and you didn't know who they were then either.
That's like a quarter of a point now, though, because I know who they is. All right, Jay.
You would know this song, so if you heard it.
I heard it. If I heard it, I would know it?
Yeah.
Okay. So. All right, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know pop culture.
No, and this is pop music, so I guess.
Is Depeche Mode considered pop music?
Yes, Europop, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
It's on the top 40 with Casey Kasem.
I think this probably cracked the top 40, yeah.
All right.
Back in 1980-something.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I probably heard it then, because I was glued to my radio Sunday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when you had 6 TV channels and 8 radio stations, and I was glued to it. Now, Jay,
yes,
a total question for you. I don't know why I was thinking of this all day long. I couldn't get this out of my head. A total non-political question. Stick with me on this.
All right.
I mentioned to you about a month or two ago, maybe a little longer, about people telling us that even people who disagreed with us thought we were entertaining on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and I mentioned to you that I don't think I could be an actor because I don't think I can read something and try to memorize it and lose myself. And, it's like I can't read fiction. I have just no imagination.
Okay.
But,
yes.
An actor, I think there's 2 things that everybody kind of dreams about being at some point. One is an actor, one's a professional athlete. Maybe a musician you could add as a third.
Yes.
Okay, but those are kind of the things I think everybody at some point has dreamt about being one of them. Okay, I have no musical talent whatsoever.
That's okay. Let me pop your bubble. The industry is amazing if music is your love. If it's not your thing that you're in love with. Oh.
Yeah. I know there's a lot more. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It looks really glamorous. Well, I'll say that.
Sure.
It looks really glamorous.
I can believe that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as an actor.
Yes.
Okay.
I've done a small bit of that as well.
You have. I've never acted once.
Yes.
But I think I could. There are some roles in movies.
Yes.
That I wish I could have someday played. Now, I want you to think of roles that I tell mine.
Okay.
That you think of yours. I've got 4. I got 4 that if I could go back and be an actor, okay, I'd want to do one or all of these roles. Okay, stick with me on this.
Okay.
Probably not the kind of movies you think of. That you think I'm thinking.
Like Little Women?
What the hell is that? No, that's not what I was thinking. Did I say 4 roles or 3?
I don't know if you might have said both. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if I could play roles, number 1, I'd play a Jack Nicholson character.
Okay.
Either The Shining, because I want to kill people,
Right.
or A Few Good Men. Now, obviously, nobody can act like Jack. He's in a class of his own. But I've always wanted to just play that kind of a-hole role. Okay, and that gets into my number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, acting is about stretching yourself and having an opportunity to be someone you're not.
But I also think the best actors are kind of like professional wrestlers. Their characters are knockoffs of the best roles they play are knockoffs of what they really might be like.
There's some truth to that.
You know, I mean, I think that, you can look at, Steve Austin, and you could see a lot of the character in him. So I think, not to say I'm like the killer in The Shining, okay, but I mean,
oh boy, I am alone in this building doing a podcast with Andrew. If I don't show up by next podcast, please somebody come look for me.
That's right. You killed your family, didn't you, Grady? Lloyd, a little slow in here. No. Believe it or not, I would have loved to play the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, because everybody can see me as a brainless fool, and I think I could play that. I think I could pull that off.
Oh.
Okay, I really do. Some people say I'm heartless, but I would prefer to have no brain.
Okay.
Okay. Now here's another one.
All right.
This is with my wife and I.
Yes.
I think she would agree with this. We've talked about it. Hopefully it's okay to share it. That we'll find out. That I would like to play.
Likewise, if Andrew doesn't show up for the podcast next week, where to look for him.
We know what happened. I'm sore from sleeping on the couch. If I could play the Chevy Chase role in Vacation, and my wife, we could be the dorky parents.
Yeah.
Because I can so see myself as the dorky dad, because I like to drive. I don't like to fly.
Right.
I could totally drive cross country, singing Mighty Moose, Mighty Moose, punching that moose at the end of the movie, and putting a BB gun at John Candy and saying, "Look, I just drove 2,483 miles for a little Roy Wally fun. The moose says you're closed. I say you're open." Okay, I could play that. But you know what the number 1 role I'd like to play is? Talk about the jerk role.
Oh.
Okay. This is one of my favorite movies of my entire life. I'll watch it anytime that it's on. I watch it sometimes on what do you call that? Flixnet and that stuff. I chop my arm off to play Biff in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I so would love
you would
to
do
play.
that. You could do that role.
I could and I was thinking about you for McFly.
Oh, really?
You should play McFly. Right. Hey, because I've always seen you fall for that. Hey, McFly, your shoes untied. I've seen you fall for that.
Really, have you?
Yeah, remember I sleep in on Sunday. Okay, so like if there's Back to the Future, I know Biff's every line.
Yeah.
I know. I just love the character. Make like a tree and get out of here. It's just great. Now, Jay, I ask you. Now, you talk about an experience. Look at my talent.
Yeah.
Playing comedy, playing a serial killer, playing the bully.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, playing the dorky dad.
All over the place.
I mean, that is serious talent. Of course, I can't do any of them, but I can pretend that I can. Okay?
Right.
So what movie role, if I were going to see Jason Bradley on film, okay, what role would I see you in? And don't tell me Brokeback Mountain.
You wrote this while you were at home, didn't you?
Spontaneity, Jay, is the key to our show.
Yes, it is. Brokeback Mountain.
Other than George McFly, okay, what would you like?
Rocky in Rocky 1.
I know that's one of your best.
That is probably my favorite movie, Rocky in Rocky 1. He lost, but it's that pursuit of always trying to get there.
I love Mick.
Yeah.
I love the Mick Rocky scenes. Are indelible in movies.
Yeah.
In fact, I just did a Mick quote today.
Yeah.
Did you know that Oscar De La Hoya is thinking and Mike Tyson are both returning to boxing?
No.
They're thinking about making comebacks.
Creating a seniors league?
I guess so. But one of Mick's.
Yeah.
Remember in Rocky 2 when Rocky goes up the steps and Mick, I get my locker back, and Mick goes, every pug thinks they got one good fight left in them.
Yeah.
See, and that's always what they, what do I got to chase a chicken for? It's just the back and forth between those two. I love the Rocky movies except for 5. But other than that, I love them.
Yeah.
It's a great character to play. Absolutely.
Huh.
So you'd go out and lose to Apollo, then you'd beat him, then you'd take out Dalago.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to do that.
Interesting.
I would like to be that character.
So who would play Adrian for you?
I'll answer see, there was a movie way back in the 80s about the heavy metal scene, and they interviewed Lemmy from Motorhead. He's like, who would you get to play you in a movie? And he said, Barbara Stanwyck. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Narrows it down.
Barbara Stanwyck would make a great Lemmy. Yes, that's.
I love it.
Oh.
So, any others, Jay? Would you play a comedy role? Would you play a killer role? I can't see you as a killer.
Because I love music so much, I would love to do a music movie. I mean, whether it was.
Now, would you be doing a movie just about that's fiction, or would it be a movie about a certain?
I don't know if it matters.
Yeah. I mean, like something like That Thing
Johnny
You Do
Cash
or
and
something.
Walk the Line.
Yeah,
I mean, that was an amazing movie. I think more real life type stuff, but I do like movies that aren't real about music as well.
Well, they're kind of fact-based fiction in a way.
Yeah.
They kind of change That Thing You Do is a movie that I always relate to, about the garage band getting on the radio. It wasn't real, but it was.
Right.
So, yeah. Huh. Yeah, I could see you playing that. And I'll play bass. Okay. On the.
We'll start lessons after the show.
No, you know what we'll have.
Yeah.
I'll play the Biff character in the movie that tries to destroy your career and makes you do my homework and totals your car and stuff like that. That's what I'll play.
Yeah.
Bradley, I tow your car all the way here. All you got for me is light beer. I mean, that totally could. But yes, if I could, you know what? If Back to the Future ever goes on stage.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how it could. I don't think it could make a car disappear on stage.
Oh,
it's
sure.
88 miles an hour. But,
the lights, you dim the lights, and then you drag it off the stage. It's a scene
Party
change.
your kids. Somebody's got to be done about your kids. No, I mean,
Yes.
you could, if I'm going to try out for Biff with no acting experience at all. I'm just going to walk in and just say, look, I can do this. You just got to trust me that I can do this. I'll go right on stage right in front of everybody. Everybody can laugh. I've been in front of more people than that. Okay, so.
Hey, butthead.
Yeah. I'm going to cut you a break today.
Yeah.
As long as you make like a tree and get out of here. Speaking about making like a tree and getting out of here.
Yes.
We have to stop the fun now, Jay, and dive into.
It's all over.
Yeah. I mean, it's as bad as unfortunately, I was in a good mood for the first 10 minutes of the show. Now it's kind of like, we got to talk about serious, real stuff.
Right.
And unfortunately, kind of like, kind of like cancer or something like that. There's just some stuff that just won't go away. And, it's so, doctor, I've got this friend who's got an itch. That's kind of like what the subject we're gonna talk about. The same people, Jay. I just want to say something. In race, basically, is our topic. Stick with us, folks. Stick with us.
Yeah, not Grandma's Marathon.
No, not that.
Yes.
Not the wheelchair people. No, not that. That was insensitive. Okay, forget it. You ever seen a wheelchair race before? They cheat.
Do they?
Oh, they cheat. Yeah,
really?
Absolutely.
Huh.
You see people tip over. It's I find it ironic, Jay, that we want to end racial discrimination, end racism, end blah, 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 blah. Yet race is the only subject we seem to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how can you end racism? Everything is judged in terms of race. Remember,
Because once you make Whitey the bad guy.
yeah, but we're supposed to judge people by the content of their character. I read that somewhere.
That is true, so long as you're not white.
Yeah.
Because if you're white, you're inherently bad. I mean, look at the book, White Fragility. If you're white, you're racist, and you can't help it. And there are two types of racists. The kind who says he's racist, the kind who won't admit he's racist.
But we have lately, ever since the whole thing with
George Floyd.
Mr. Floyd,
yes.
yeah, the whole thing a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Like, instead of things being better, instead of everybody sort of saying, okay, come on, time out here, let's back up, let's treat one incident the way it was here, let's punish the guilty who deserve to be punished, okay? It's done nothing but snowball since then.
Well, I think part of that's on purpose, though. I think that there is I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think there is a larger plan at play. You had our wonderful AG, Mr. Ellison, hide a tape, a body cam tape, in which he was not cooperative. He was saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, before anybody was touching him. Now you have an AG that is pursuing second-degree murder, and I don't believe those charges are going to stick, unfortunately, and that cop needs to go away. I think that's the design. I mean, because
well, again, you and I talked about, I thought second-degree murder was a stretch under Minnesota law.
You have an attorney general that he pals around with people from Antifa. They are wanting to burn this city to the ground. I mean, and that's not, hyperbole.
Yeah, and he's our chief law enforcement officer in the state.
Yeah, and those people are not seeing anything, any kind of charges. You have people from Hollywood sending in money so that those people can walk.
Yeah, somebody just got charged last week with a very weak count for the statues being torn down.
Yeah.
2.5 months after it happened, while the guy was on tape. Jay, you and I rob a bank tomorrow. We'll be arrested before breakfast.
No Hollywood money for me.
Yeah. No, the Hollywood money would actually probably go to the police if it was you. But, you're right, though. There is an agenda, whether that's the boogeyman doing it, whether there's people above.
It's not the boogeyman. I mean, you've got the Revolutionary Communist Party, not the regular Communist Party, the Revolutionary Communist Party. There are pictures of them and video of them on the ground here in Minneapolis.
Again, though, to Middle America, that's the boogeyman. Okay, to Middle America,
they don't hide it. It's on their website.
Yeah, they don't hide it because there's no consequences.
Go out to revcom.org or whatever it is.
How did they get a .org?
Or is it com? I can look it up.
But it's got to be com for communist.
That would be confusing, though, revcom.com, but maybe not. But yeah, it's ridiculous. You got them. You've got Antifa. You've got Black Lives Matter, the organization, Black Lives Matter, but the organization, the Marxist organization.
It's the ultimate scam. If you oppose Black Lives Matter, then you're racist.
And you've got the Tides Foundation that is funneling the money through Thousand Currents, and you've got all of this network of people that are working. And we'll talk about some of this in some future shows that we have coming up. But the idea is to kick the legs out from under America.
Yeah, and overthrow capitalism. And that's part of it too. But Jay,
yes, it is.
I want to focus today on these resolutions that are being passed. Sometimes we laugh at resolutions.
Revcom.us.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Sometimes, actually, that's not what I thought, but whatever. Okay. Sometimes resolutions are passed; they're symbolic. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they pass; they're
feel good things. They don't really do anything. But we've had this rash all over the country. And a handful here in Minnesota, and I think a handful more are going to come, of declaring racism, however you define that, as a public health crisis. Now, a public health crisis by definition, can that by definition be somebody's thoughts? Because, I mean, look, racists come in all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
And they have a First Amendment right to be a racist. You can't shut up people you don't agree with. Now, at the same time, you can't incite things, and you can't encourage people to commit violent acts. And I mean, there are consequences for your freedom of speech. Okay, but how does this qualify as a health crisis?
Well, here's the definition I could find of health crisis. A health crisis or public health crisis is a difficult situation or complex health system that affects humans in one or more geographic areas, from a particular locality to encompass the entire planet. Health crises generally have significant impacts on community health, loss of life, and on the economy.
Okay, like I said, how does race then fit in any of those categories?
Right. Well, that's
I'm drawing a blank too, and I'm usually not speechless.
Right.
I mean, I have seen. Now it's easy, Jay, to dismiss this as feel good stuff, politically correct stuff, symbolic, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But I get the feeling that this is just, we're not at the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even climbed up the iceberg yet.
No.
Like Winston Churchill said, this is not the beginning of the end, this is the end of the beginning.
Yes.
And I don't even think we're there yet.
I don't think we're at the end of the beginning yet either.
Yeah. So, we haven't had... we're not fighting Rommel in Africa yet.
If this were a novel, this would be the foreword.
We're still in Genesis? Is that what we are?
No, we're in the introduction. Maybe we're in Genesis.
Okay, so now what's the deal here? What's going on with these things? Why is race a health crisis? What is the goal here?
Yeah. Well, this is from an article from Pew.
I thought something stunk.
.org, yeah, where it says being black is bad for your health, and pervasive racism is the cause.
Well, then we'll just have to paint everybody. Isn't that the whole?
No,
we'll have to make black people white.
That would be, well, I guess that would work. You can't make white people black, but you can make black people white.
Okay,
I don't know.
It worked for Michael Jackson. And he died anyway.
Basically what they're saying is that they've done all of these studies over decades, and there's absolutely no doubt that African Americans suffer much worse than everybody else when it comes to all sorts of diseases, maladies, economic situations, what have you. And because of that, it is a health crisis.
Really? So like what? What are these diseases that... And look, but we got to remember something. Diseases do affect races differently.
Yeah.
They can. That's not BS.
Right.
But remember, racism as a public health crisis, that's not to say black people are more likely to get diabetes. That's got nothing to do with the Ku Klux Klan.
No. What they're saying is like black women are up to 4 times more likely to die of pregnancy-related complications than white women. Black men are more than twice as likely to be killed by police as white men. That's not true. There were 9 people last year, 9 black people that were killed by police, and they were not all unarmed. there were more white people that were killed by police last year. The average life expectancy of African Americans is 4 years lower than the rest of the U.S. population.
Zippity doo dah. I mean, look. Anybody can die at any time from anything.
Yeah?
You including accidental deaths, gang deaths,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all, I got to assume they're all included in that. Plane crashes. I mean, that's a pretty broad generalization.
Right.
I mean, put it to you this way. Women, on average, I believe, and I have not seen the latest stuff on this, outlive men, I believe, by about 6 or 7 years on the average.
That is true.
So do we have a gender crisis? Is that not fair?
No, because it's men. It's okay if men die.
I was wondering.
Yeah. It's okay. If it were the other way around.
I thought maybe I was going to get some free stuff.
No.
Okay, I guess I'm not.
Nope. You might get a free trip to the county jail in upcoming years.
Well, I'll enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind bread and water.
A little timeshare at Hennepin County.
Yeah. Yeah, after 10 years, it's worth a couple marbles or something. Do you know, Jay, that the state of Minnesota House declared racism a public health crisis?
Yes, I did hear that.
And it passed by a measure of 82 to 40.
There were definitely some Republicans that voted yay on
It wasn't even close. I don't think the Senate, I can't find any info that they
picked that up.
That they passed one. This is from bringmethenews.com, July 20th. Minnesota House declares racism a public health crisis. If you want to, like Herb Carneal says, if you're scoring at home. This is about, I'm quoting Representative Ruth Richardson of Mendota Heights.
This is
about another one of your girlfriends. We keep racking them up, Jay. This is about advancing and promoting equitable opportunity across all of our systems, including health, education, housing, public safety, economic, and workforce development. So a healthcare crisis is about education, housing, workforce development. That's what this is about. This, again, it's a symbolic resolution. Okay. Melissa Horrible jumped in.
But I want to say something else that she said. Minnesota can never truly prosper as a state if it doesn't guarantee equitable opportunities to every resident, regardless of race. Doesn't it?
Yeah, we're all under the same constitution.
I mean, if
all can get a high school diploma for free.
Yeah. I mean, you apply yourself in school and you can go on to college or you can go on to trade school or you can, if you don't, you can still take online classes. You can watch YouTube tutorials. You can learn how to become really good at something. You apply yourself. You work hard. You can make money. You can become successful at something. And if you start out and you're not able to get into even a 2-year school, you work hard and work hard and work hard, and then you try again, and there are ways to do it. There are opportunities for everybody.
Yeah, and by the way, it's interesting hearing them talk about opportunity. Equity is the opposite of equal opportunity.
Absolutely. That's equal outcome.
Right. So, I mean, it is the complete opposite when we talk about that. Of course, we'll be waiting forever, I suppose, for the mainstream media to point that out to anybody. That equity, quote unquote, is the opposite of any of that happening.
Yes.
So I mean, it's the idea that this is across, and this is where we get into substance now. And by the way, I mean, these places are not alone. We didn't mention it now, but Olmsted County has passed a similar resolution. So has Hennepin County. So has Minneapolis. And my guess is this weeds its way to the usual places that are going to pass this stuff.
And you were going to talk about Melissa Hortman's quote. I assume you were going to say Minnesota has disturbing inequities in education, healthcare, employment, and housing. The House will undertake efforts to dismantle the structural racism inherent in our own institution as we continue to work to address these inexcusable inequities throughout Minnesota.
By the way, if we have huge inequities in education, I'm sorry, what party's been in charge of that for the last 60 years? If Minnesota ranks so low in all this, who do we have to blame?
I don't know, but it rhymes with DFL.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yes.
who has been in charge of our schools? Who's been in charge of our big cities?
I haven't seen anything put out by the teachers union in the last 25 years that didn't say Republicans are horrible and here's the Democrats you vote for.
Right, and I'm not saying
Yes.
Republicans have all the answers.
I'm not
because
either, but
half
we
the time
know.
they can't grab their ass with both hands.
But I'm reinforcing your point.
Yeah.
This party has had a stranglehold on education for, I was going to say centuries, for decades.
Yeah, but since the 50s.
For a century, probably.
Yeah, at least since post-World War II, which is going back 75 years now, they have had a total stranglehold. And so the idea that they're going to...
We need a new law, Andrew. No chokeholds. No chokeholds on the education system.
No. No. Oh, that's terrible. I'll tell you what, in the People's Republic of Minneapolis... Oh, the Star Tribune just blocked my access again.
Ugh.
I'm not paying them.
No.
I just say I'm not paying them. But, of course, no surprise that the Hennepin County Board... this is from MinnesotaCBSLocal.com. With 7 commissioners, how can they have a 7-1 vote?
Equity, Andrew. They had to bring somebody else in.
I guess
Yes.
so. We have the resolution. This story is from June 30th, so we're going back a little ways. But they Commissioner Angela Conley. It was one of our beauties.
That is the one that was backing that one Minneapolis special election candidate.
Well, there weren't too many good ones in that, so it
There
didn't
were
matter.
no,
who
there
she
were
backed.
not. It was the really bad one.
Yeah. Year after year after year, I'm quoting her, we find ourselves as a state and ultimately the largest county in the state ranking among the bottom of the worst places for black and indigenous people more and more across the... Well, again, who's been running this county?
Yeah.
So I guess you're to blame.
Yeah.
You know, I
I'll
mean...
tell you that Jeff Johnson doesn't have too many winning votes on that.
Yeah,
count,
exactly.
on that board.
We need to name structural racism as the root cause of our work to eliminate disparities. We have yet to name racism as one of the root causes in the 1.2 million people that we've been elected to serve. So I guess they're taking care of that. The resolution calls for Hennepin County to, among other things, advocate for policies to improve health outcomes for people of color. Now, Jay, I'm going to just stop right there. Health is something, unless you're going to force a salad down people's throats, unless you're going to get them off their dead asses and run somewhere. I mean, are we talking more bike lanes, more? I mean, unless you're going to, force Burger King to close down, I don't understand.
Wait a second now. I have a chef salad from Burger King on a regular basis.
Jay, you've never eaten a salad in your life.
Are you
Don't
kidding
lie
me?
to the people.
There is meat. There's lettuce, tomatoes, onion, pickles. There's salad dressing in the form of mayo, ketchup, and a couple of croutons, one on each side. How is that not a chef salad?
Get all the food groups. And you have a glass of milk with it, I suppose. Now, tell the truth. You can't lie to the people. You haven't had a salad since Truman or Eisenhower. Why don't you just be honest about it?
I have salads.
Oh, give me a break.
Like, that's not a salad. It's got all sorts of vegetables.
Just because you put lettuce on your Whopper combo, that doesn't make it a salad.
I disagree.
All right. Right. So somehow you're going to improve the health of people of color. People not of color, we don't give a crap if you die. But I'll tell you what we'll do. You know, I mean, we're gonna put rice cake on everybody's plate, I guess, and for people of color. Support initiatives to dismantle systemic racism. Incorporate racism and public health crisis into budget hearing materials. So, in other words, we're going to have, and there's a 3-month timeline now. We're already halfway.
Wow.
It's mid-August. Okay, so budget hearing materials, we're going to incorporate racism in them.
Mm-hmm.
So Hennepin County is going to talk about their budget. And one part of the budget's going to be racist. One part of the budget's going to be not so racist.
Well, no, they're going to have to incorporate, okay, there's not enough money going to public housing because, of XYZ. And that is systemic racism in action. And so we need more public housing. We need a bigger budget for public housing. We need a bigger budget.
Which they get money from the state and the feds to do public housing.
For county insurance, medical insurance. That's what they're talking about here. How they dole out money is going to be more, in their eyes, equitable. To quote a statement from earlier in there, the Board of Commissioners said Tuesday that Black, Indigenous, and other people of color in Hennepin County statistically have poorer educational
Get that salad
outcomes,
out of your mouth.
earn less, and are less likely to own homes or have access to quality health care and jobs than white people.
But
that is what they said.
That's not a fair statement, though.
No,
because
it's not.
Anybody of those means is less likely. If you've got a degree, a master's degree in kinesiology, you're more likely to be ahead in life of somebody who doesn't have a high school diploma, no matter what color they are.
True. There are a lot of poor white people.
There's a lot of trailer trash. I won't say who they are, but there's a lot.
Thank you for not bringing me up.
Yeah, and let me tell you something else.
Yes.
Like you said, where is the encouragement to take advantage of opportunities that you have?
Yep.
Where is that? Where is the saying, look, you can't address this without talking about unplanned pregnancy, drugs, dropping out of school. Okay, you add those things, those are big problems in the minority community, and there are problems in white communities with that too.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what color you are. If you are in that category, you are 5 steps behind everybody else. Now, it doesn't mean you can't change, turn your life around, doesn't mean that. But it just means you are starting from behind. And until those things are addressed, I don't care how much money you throw at public housing, which has not done anything to bring anybody out. The people in public, it becomes a lifestyle. They stay there.
Yeah.
Okay? So, white people too, by the way. So, the idea that we're going to take the failed policies and we're going to double down on them. We're not going to say, okay, what's going wrong? We've had public housing for 60 years in this country. Why isn't it done wiener to get people out of it? That was not the intent. Of course, we all know the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right.
So why is there is no critical thinking here? Angela Connolly wouldn't know an original thought if it bit her in the ass. Okay? So, I mean, but if they really want to solve these problems,
yes,
okay, it requires a different approach. It requires rejecting what we've been doing and just, okay, we got to do something different. And I just do not hear that from any of these morons. I hear the same crap over and over and over. Everything is Whitey's fault. Everything, it's your fault because of how you were born.
I would argue it is Whitey's fault. But
of course you think so.
It was Whitey's progressive whiteys back during Lyndon Johnson's time
Yeah, well,
that
they're all
put
dead.
the Great Society into motion, that separated black fathers from black families. And anyone knows that you separate families, you kill the family like Black Lives Matter Inc. wants to do.
Yeah, the nuclear family.
You kill that, and you have people that are not going to excel in school, suffer with depression, turn to drugs, all of this kind of stuff that they have to fight through because their families aren't whole, and there are feelings that go along with that. Kids are despondent. Kids are depressed. We have always said on this show that it does not matter what color you are. You're born with a brain in your head, and you're given a purpose by our Creator to go out and
except for the
accomplish
scarecrow.
something
The scarecrow
amazing.
doesn't have one.
Right. I don't think there are any scarecrows listening to the podcast. However,
The one emailed me last week.
yeah, I think he just looked like a scarecrow. He needed to have one of my salads. Let me tell you, it does not matter what color you are. You have the ability within you to be great. If you have the desire and the stick-to-itiveness, you can do anything. It doesn't matter your color. You have the opportunity, you have the willpower, you have the intelligence to be able to make it happen.
You're getting off on the sign-off sermon already here, Jay.
I'm fired up, man.
Let's
take care of business.
You got me inspired now, okay?
Good.
But I'm going to demur here for just a second. Because you know what? They can talk about this crap all they want to.
Yes.
But how might this look? Jay, let me just throw a proposal here. A city declares racism a public whatever crisis, whatever adjectives in their sample resolution they want to put out there.
Yeah.
What does that really mean for policy? I think you and I should speculate a little bit. Yeah, we can read what these crazy groups want to do. How they get there is one thing, but what does it really mean? How is this in action? Mm-hmm. Now, we've talked on this show for 3.5 years now about, unfair things that cities do in the name of getting more property tax money, in the name, so on and so forth. Whether that's TIF, whether that's abatements, whether that's, a million different financial things they can do.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that now with race? Are we going to see minority-owned businesses get breaks that white businesses can't?
Yeah.
Are we going to see...
I believe so. In the form of grants, if nothing else.
Right. Now, grants aren't necessarily doled out by a city, but they could be. They usually get the money from somewhere else.
Like we talked about on the last show, though, there are going to be grants going to different businesses and nonprofits because of COVID, right?
Yes, and of course, that's another premise is that COVID is hitting which
it's what a lot of these cities want to do is set up grants.
Yeah, and and can we also say, is it really true that COVID is hitting minorities harder? Because I know there's data out there that says that, but everybody hasn't been tested. Everybody hasn't, there are jobs where you can work from home and there are jobs where you can't. If you're a clerk at a grocery store, you've been working this whole time.
Yeah.
Whether you're black or white.
If you have a blue-collar job, you are more likely to get it because you're working around other people.
Yeah, you're not working from home or whatever.
Yep. And are there more minorities in blue-collar jobs? Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
Are minorities more likely to live in the inner city and to be more clustered together? Yeah, especially when you look at immigrants that are coming in. Nobody's going to move into this country from another country and move right into the suburbs in a 2-story house.
Yeah, they're not going to move right into Wayzata.
Look even as far back as when the Italians came into New York and things like that. They were all living together. You had the Italians, you had the Irish.
Little Italy.
Yeah.
Well, I could even use my family. My grandparents, when they moved to Minneapolis, then My mom and dad moved to the suburbs. I mean, it was generational then.
Right.
The suburbs weren't developed.
But I will say it doesn't matter where.
And isn't that also an indictment of high density housing, public housing,
all the things they're pushing?
Yes, public transit. You're more likely to take transit.
Yeah.
It's all the things that they're pushing.
You live in the city, and they're trying to push everybody in the cities.
Yeah. So I mean, their policies have. It's not systemic racism. It's no white person making anybody do something. It's these policies of high density housing, transit, public housing, clustering people together, cramming people together that has contributed to that.
Yeah.
And again, not one news article about it. No dope in the media has done any research. Probably hasn't even had this thought, because they all should listen to this program because it would improve their journalistic capabilities. So, I mean, and you're not going to see it. I mean, you're never going to see this put out there.
No.
I mean, even transit, which has not been running as much for a while, but that actually was to the detriment because more people were then on less buses.
Yeah.
It actually worked to the opposite of what the intent was. So they've managed this about as stupidly as possible. Again, that's the same people pushing this stuff. 82-40 in the Minnesota House really is worrisome because if 2/3 of the House is going to symbolically, basically declare that we're a racist state, which I see that as a declaration of that, we got problems that cross party lines, age lines, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty bad. But Jay, I want to get back to what we could possibly see. I'm going to throw some wild cards out there.
Okay.
There's a park, a city park. In the wintertime, they might put up a hockey rink.
Right.
What color of people play hockey?
Oh, white.
Ole and Sven.
Only white people play hockey.
So we can't have a hockey. That's systemically racist. We're not being inclusive. We can't have a hockey rink.
Yeah.
You may think that's crazy. I don't.
I don't think that's.
I think
crazy.
you're going to say, well, that's just that's not inclusive enough.
Well, there's already been statements made about our park systems in the metro and how they aren't inclusive, whether there aren't enough of them close enough to, wherever so minorities can use them, or the way that they're outfitted, or.
Well, and
that's already out there.
Yeah, we've seen baseball fields get torn down and things like that. Could it get to where like equal sports of races have to be everywhere? We have to have soccer fields for the Hispanics, and we have to have basketball courts for.
But isn't that cultural appropriation?
Got to have tennis courts for the Europeans, and we've got to have,
that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but wait a minute, it's equity.
You're not supposed to put people in boxes like that either.
But this is all about putting people in boxes.
Yep.
Black people don't play hockey.
Except for Matt Dumba, and he's not the only one.
I don't even know anymore.
Okay.
If it was 1991, maybe I could say a few, but I really don't know.
Yes.
But I think of things like, I mentioned minority-owned businesses, hiring when it comes to city staff. Many cities have gone in this direction. Yes. Are we going to have? There's no not enough black police officers, or there aren't any.
Oh yeah, they've already talked about that. We've talked about that.
Right.
How the police force should reflect the people that they're serving. And as far as color goes, we've talked on a previous episode about GARE. What does that stand for again? Government
racial equity.
Something racial equity. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I don't care what it stands for.
But we've already talked about that, how numerous cities have created a special position for like an equity advisor or equity supervisor to make sure that the workforce in the city and the people that they have on their advisory councils and this and that it's more equally spread.
Yes, so we're going to spread that to planning commissions. We're going to spread that to park boards.
Kind of. Minneapolis, I would say, at least 20% of the people are conservative. You don't see any conservatives on anything in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but that's not who they're after. They're not.
They don't care that's.
They don't care about what you
equal.
think. They care about what you look like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple LGBTQCFs on the city council. That's not reflective of what are 20% of Minneapolis residents one of the other 24 genders? I sure hope not.
Well, this is Minneapolis.
Well, it could be, I guess.
There was a study, I say that in air quotes, that just came out that said only a quarter of the people in Minneapolis are happy with the police department. I mean, you know how these studies are, too, and they're skewed.
Yeah, but also dismantling them is not very popular.
No.
So, I mean, that's why I think they just won't go down that road. They'll be the thought police or something, but they won't be dismantled. But
they're trying.
But you know what?
Yeah.
When you talk about hiring police officers, first off, why would you want to be part of the Minneapolis Police Department right now?
Right.
I mean, I can understand why but if you're not hiring, there could be a lot of reasons. You're not offering enough money. Mm-hmm. Okay, the hours you offer stink, or there's no room for advancement, or there's a lot of reasons why people don't apply for jobs.
Yeah.
Your qualifications aren't right or whatever. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they may not happen, and we've already talked about the attempt to dumb that down. I mean, are we going to get into education where college admission standards are too tough?
Yeah, well, math is racist.
Yeah, exactly.
We already know that.
Yeah, math is racist. English is racist. Why should everybody have to learn English? History's racist because it's written by white people. Mm-hmm. Can't read a book by Laura Ingalls because she said Indians in one book. I mean, we're to the point where we've done the opposite of the vision. And I don't like to, quote Martin Luther King or anything like that. But I think the speech he gave in 1963, I'll be honest with you, is a speech that moves me as a white guy.
Yeah.
That we're going to judge people by the that I hope my children, and he grew up in a Jim Crow South, will be judged by not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Okay? We've done nothing but go backwards on that. We've 100% backwards. And what kind of message are you telling young minority people also? That you can't achieve. Everybody hates you. Your neighbor hates you. The person in the other city hates you. They're trying to screw you. They're trying to prevent you from the biggest obstacles in life, I'm a firm believer, are self-imposed.
Yes.
They're self-imposed for whatever reason.
And when you have somebody speaking negatively in your ear like that all the time, it affects your self-confidence.
Sure. I mean, I think this is going to get so much worse.
Yes.
I mean, way, way worse. I don't see anything like this getting better.
Well, there's a push to get this in as many cities as possible. I mean, you were showing me. Why don't we talk about that for a minute? That they're actively trying to recruit cities to make this declaration.
Yeah, Salud America. .org.
SALUD?
Yes.
Yes.
It's an action pack, which means it's one of those unaccountable kind of groups. Help achieve a city resolution to declare racism a public health crisis and commit to action. Action pack and coaching. Basically, they are the ones that lay out a blueprint of how to get a city resolution to do this. They encourage you to talk to ethnic organizations and social justice groups, as well as public health agencies. No talk about to the people generally speaking. We don't want their opinion.
Right.
Then you talk to city leaders. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. Mm-hmm. And then you hand them a sample resolution to vote on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the process. We'll talk to the people who agree with us. Then we'll go to the city at a work meeting or something. And then poof, there's a resolution. Right out in front of your face. And you can find out about it after it happens.
Yeah, and this is being sponsored by places like University of Texas Health in San Antonio.
They're one of the cities that has already passed one.
Yes. Yes, I believe so as well. And foundations are giving this place money. That is just one of the groups.
Yeah, this is largely a Latino group.
Right. There is another group called APHA or APHA sounds better, I guess, .org. And that is a bigger group that is spanning the country, trying to get all sorts of things to happen with the making a declaration that racism is an emergency.
Yeah, and I would
take care of, and they've got things listed in every state.
Yeah, and they've also got a topics and issues page where they name all of these issues from COVID to gun violence, mental health, suicide, immigrant health, global health, tobacco, transportation. They have positions on all of these things, and they have recommendations for layers of government depending on who they are.
Yes.
And what kind of authority they have. That's why I say this is the beginning. This idea that we're going to pass a resolution and forget about it, let me tell you, the snowball is rolling down the hill.
Right.
Well, Jay, I want to say something too. We talked about parks. And I was being a little facetious with the hockey rink, but I'm really not. Yeah. Planning is a big thing.
Yes.
We already touched on public housing, but how is planning going to be how is race going to be thrown into the planning process?
Well, just in the very way that communities are designed, and we have seen that, whether it is the Metropolitan Council and their approach to equity in just the design, the comprehensive plans that cities have to implement and send for approval to the Met Council. If it doesn't reflect equity, where it has a variation of housing types, where there is...
I thought the minorities couldn't afford any housing.
I don't know. But, I mean, you look at that, you look at transportation. They have to have access to transit.
Within half a mile.
Right, because obviously minorities, for some reason, they think minorities can't get a vehicle. I see plenty of them
I
with
see
cars.
Tons every day.
Yes. So, I mean, that's not accurate, but...
And it's almost racist.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's almost racist.
It's telling people what they can't do.
Black people, they can't afford cars. What?
Dumb.
I get black people above me at my job. They're all driving to work. So you're going to see how outward is this going to be? Is this going to be, I mean, how about the cities that have, a 3% minority population? I mean,
yeah, well, that isn't that what things have become? It's like, for the least of, least percentage of people, you have to make accommodations to make sure that they feel comfortable. Even though they may feel comfortable already, but they decide what that means.
Yes, the offended decide what's offensive.
I wouldn't even say that. Yes, meaning the people in government that are falsely offended, right?
So we're back. Yes. So we're back to more transit, more sidewalks,
biking and walking,
more high density housing, more renting.
Yeah.
Are we back to that? Are we?
You will see.
How about incentives for employers to hire minorities?
Oh yeah, that would be included. I would say even in in building, the permits that you have to pull in order to pass an inspection, you're going to have rules for some that maybe don't apply to others, or there's going to be grants offered for special, things in this. This is low-income housing, so you're going to be able to get discounts or free this and that and the other thing, and being able to provide this kind of a living experience.
All the common space and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can just see, cities, counties, and school districts putting this stuff into place.
Right, lead contamination. It will, there'll be standards put into water where, I don't know, in Minneapolis, doesn't everybody get the same water? In Crystal, New Hope, Robbinsdale, they all get Minneapolis water. It's all the same.
First and second ring suburbs, yeah.
Hey, we're keeping
the lead in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's right. We're putting up a wall. No lead.
We got a magnet at the end of picks it all up.
Oh. Gun violence is something that they talk about. So, again, that's taking guns out of people's hands. The people who have them legally, not the people who have them illegally. Because as we've seen in Minneapolis, we've already surpassed last year's murder rates, and in Chicago, which is out of control, and they won't even recognize it's out of control. That mayor is so out of touch and just full of hubris. It's like, what? We don't have a problem. You have a problem.
That mayor ought to be hauled off and just
put in an 18th century French prison.
Yeah, just an awful human being.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, so more eroding of other rights.
Reproductive and sexual health, that means more abortions. Easier access to contraceptives and abortion. There's not already a Planned Parenthood in almost every black neighborhood.
Yeah, I know. The number one killer of blacks is abortion in many areas.
Yes.
Of course, it's not recognized because they're not considered people. Yeah, and I mean, again, it's the opposite of what we need. Again, unplanned pregnancy is a huge problem in that community. And we've tried giving free stuff for everything. Free this, free that, including abortions. And it's not getting better. So what does that tell you? That giving out free stuff isn't working.
No.
Instead of taking a different approach, we'll give out more free stuff or twice as much free. We'll have a truck full of condoms come in, and obviously they're not being used very much. I mean, again, it's all the breakdown of the family, though. I so believe that the breakdown of the family is the most destructive thing that has happened, not just to black families.
All families.
All families. And I'm not talking about two people who get divorced and they're still raising their kids and they're both involved. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about unplanned pregnancies where the dad runs off or the mom's on welfare or people are parents and they don't have high school diplomas. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And that problem continues to be bad everywhere.
Well, there's a push for it. Like I said, Black Lives Matter. That's one of their stated goals in their platform is to break up the nuclear family because it's racist. There's a group out there that...
They ought to embrace the nuclear family.
They ought to, yeah.
The nuclear family should be their model.
And across most of the black community, it is. I mean, they do value it. They're a very spiritual people, you know.
A lot of churchgoers.
But yet you have this fringe organization full of Marxists looking to get rid of the family because that's Marxism. You know, that is
the government's
is what Marxists believe in. You have Marxists that are starting up groups with more Democrat money from. We're going to have a show in a future podcast about Family Story, I'm sure. You can look that up. That's all about breaking down the family as well and promoting every type of family that's not your traditional family. You know, just decimating. They're not. My word.
I interrupted your train of thought. Go ahead.
But just the family is under fire. The Marxists have come, and I know I say that, and it's like the boogeyman. I say that, and it's like everybody's eyes roll, and it's like,
I won't do it again, Jay.
But I mean, this is provable now. This is not conspiracy theory. It's actual conspiracy to prove that they are involved and have been planning and plotting for a long time, and that is why things are at where they are, is because they are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The family is one of the only things that they have not conquered. They haven't fully conquered the church. They've conquered part of the church, and that's why you see some crazy people, you know, like the pastor that was out at that demonstration out in Hugo last weekend, beating an effigy of
They got a lot of churches.
Bob Kroll and his wife.
They got a lot of churches scared, though.
Yeah,
and I think you mentioned what happened in Hugo. Law enforcement's another place they haven't conquered.
Yeah, they haven't fully conquered that, although what they've done to getting county attorneys elected and getting attorney generals elected in states, they have done a lot of damage to the law system.
Yeah,
and the laws
there are
that have been created.
There are some sheriffs too that probably the next place they're going to go.
And they've started. And so
where has he been?
I don't know.
Where's our big bad mall cop? Where has he been? You guy's a transit officer.
Mall Cop 3.
I mean, where has... Yeah. I'd rather have that guy. What's his name?
Paul Blart?
No.
Kevin James. Paul Blart. Paul Blart, Mall Cop.
Yeah, I'd rather have him than old Hutch Hutchinson. I mean, look, the sheriff's office is not a place for, social experimentation. No. I mean, you have a duty to enforce the constitutional duty. You take an oath to the same constitution that everybody else does. But let me, I mean, it is scary when you think about how easy and how under the radar this city stuff can happen. Because, I mean, something happens at the state or the federal level, people are going to hear about it. It happens at your city, your county, or even your school district. Remember, most adults do not have school-age kids. I mean, you might. Maybe you used to. Maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe you're in your 20s and you haven't had kids yet. Maybe you're me and you don't have any at all. I mean, these policies, and I really worry about the schools because that's where they get into the heads of young people. And you're going to see this equity, this everything's racist. It's just going to get pounded. And these people, and these minority kids too, they're going to grow up angry. Which is also not really good.
I would be angry too if I thought that I had no hope.
Yeah.
That I thought that...
You got no hope.
Well, I don't have any hope.
Yeah. Honkies, they've all taken it from you.
Yeah.
You got no hope at all. But you're going to end up being a loser in public housing.
They're starting to tell us the things that they've been telling the minorities for decades. And thing is, they promise hope. They promise hope. They tell them that there is no hope unless you follow us, because we'll lead you to the promised land.
Yeah, the same people who've promised this crap since the 1930s.
Yep.
They're the exact same people.
Is it any better?
If anything, it's worse.
It's a little better than the 1930s.
Well, I think it's...
But it's
I think it's better. Again,
some things are better
if you follow the right path.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody can succeed. I believe that, Jay, so strongly in this country that if you get your education and you stay out of trouble and you work hard, I do believe you could accomplish anything.
Yeah. And let me tell you, there are tons of minorities in this town that own businesses, that are happy entrepreneurs making their own way in the world. They may not be the CEO of Mega Bucks Corp International, but there are some that are in the power structure of Mega Corp International or whatever I call it. Anyways, there are a lot of them that are happy. Just they own a business. They have something that they have built from scratch. I mean, that's kind of my mindset. That's, I love to own my own business. And, there are some of us that are just built like that. And to see
it's
people.
Not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. But, to see them have success at running a business, I mean, that's a big deal.
Well,
and look at the riots and how many of those businesses were minority owned. And how many of them had to stick on the front, this is minority owned, please don't burn it, and they did anyways. I all over the metro, I see African food marts, I see Chinese restaurants.
Well, keep in mind,
stores. I see.
Keep in mind, 100 years ago, that was an Italian restaurant in New York.
Yeah,
same thing. Different people, same thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you too. You're so right about entrepreneurs, because I feel like that spirit has been hurt by our education system and by our play it safe culture. At the same time, blacks ought to look at other successful blacks. I mean, I've said this before too. If your goal is to be go talk to those people and ask how they got there.
Right.
Okay, in this racist country that has...
Because they're there in every field.
This racist country that's celebrated Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods and Oprah Winfrey and Barack Obama and all from this racist, horrible country. Well, they all got there somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand athletes get paid different, but I mean, somehow... they got there. Somehow Denzel Washington became a huge actor. What did he do? How did he get there?
Yeah.
You got a black teacher. Ask them. Hey, I'm interested in being a teacher. What should I do? Guarantee you the answer will be get your education, stay out of trouble, don't do drugs, don't have a child till you're ready. There's the formula.
Ironically, a lot of these candidates from Minneapolis in the special election that we went over a couple of episodes ago,
oh boy,
they came over as refugees from living in a refugee camp over in Somalia in Kenya, or living in Somalia themselves. Came over here, applied themselves, and got into a place, whether it's as a community organizer or part of a law firm or going to college somewhere, where they applied themselves. And maybe they had some help from the state and maybe they didn't. But what matters is they applied themselves and now are in a position to help their community as they see fit. They're not being oppressed. They're helping in their own eyes. They're helping.
So why isn't that a formula for,
But yet they're the same people that are saying that everybody's being held down and we got to... This is what I don't understand.
Yeah, they're all acting like Omar.
Yes. I mean, hopefully without the fraud.
Right. But I mean, you come to this country and this country takes you in, gives you free stuff, and then you turn around and tell everybody how terrible the country is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a slap in the face of a different type, in my opinion. So, here's the thing. I wish nothing but success on people.
Absolutely.
Knowing that everybody's not going to fulfill all of their dreams. It doesn't happen to anybody.
Speak for yourself. I'm gonna be the one.
All right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but I don't even know how to respond to that. You're going to play what, Axl Rose in a movie or something like that? Okay. Now, but I don't know where the hell I was going with that. Doesn't matter. Here's the thing. You got to be an individual. And one thing I don't like doing is putting labels on people. And I encourage everybody to reject their labels. Mm-hmm. Reject them.
Yes.
Somebody tells you your kid is, quote, at risk. You tell them to take their at risk, turn it sideways, and put it where the sun doesn't shine. What are they saying? They're saying your kid is not as smart as everybody else. Mm-hmm. They don't put it that way. They put it into their 21st century educrat garbage. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody tells you that you can't do something. You know what I want you to do? I want you to work 3 times as hard to accomplish that. Yep. Go back, stick it in their face, stick it so far up their nose that it comes out both ears. Okay? That's what I want to see. And I want to see that passion from people. Mm-hmm. You know, it just, I mean, that drive. And it just, you know, it pains me to see people down and they accept being down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just.
Well, that's the system we live in, you know.
Is it?
Yes, it is a system that I would say progressives.
Yeah, they reward people who, you know, do less. I mean,
they punish you if you do more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Black family wants to get out of the projects. Okay, there's the end of your free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see ya. Good luck. You want to stay here though? We'll sit there and then we'll blame the white guy who's the landlord. We'll blame him for all the problems. You know, but the second you want to better yourself, oh no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
See, where's the hand up versus the hand out? Jay,
yes.
Once again, we have identified and talked about things that are not going to be, you know, if you don't see Channel 4 News, if you don't read the Star and Sickle, if you don't listen to NPR, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. You got to come here to get something different. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you what else is different about this show. What's different is we inspire you at the end. We give you a to-do list of things to do, folks. Styling and profiling, okay? Wheeling and dealing, son of a gun. Jet flying, limousine riding. The sign-off sermon with Jason Bradley.
All right. You know, it's complicated. Race in this country is complicated, but I don't think it has to be. I think we make more out of it than it needs to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that you put whoever around me. I love that person. I want to see them succeed. I want to help them. If there's something I can do to help them, I want to help them. And it doesn't matter the color of their skin. It doesn't matter what their gender is. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is your heart. What matters is your soul. What matters is your desire to be great. For too long in this country, we have told people that they are not able to do it. No, you're not going to be able to accomplish that. You trust in me. Yeah, we'll make you comfortable. We'll make you comfortable. Just sit around a little longer. Don't try so hard. We punish people that try hard, unless it's something that it's the right business, it's the right idea, it's the right organization, you believe in the right things. But don't you go be successful anywhere else, because we're going to punish that. Is that really what we're about? I don't think so. I don't think that's what this country is about at all. And I think if you talk to the majority of people, they would be happy to see anybody succeed. They would be happy to see anybody realize the American dream and create something for themselves. Now, that whether that's starting a business from scratch or whether that's becoming a really good number 2, 3, 7 at some other organization, but like living your potential to the fullest. Now, that's worth something. What's not worth something is being told that you're not good enough, being told that you're not smart enough, being told that you need what I have. And I'm going to continue to give it to you as long as you don't excel. That's not our way. So let me tell you, I know a lot of you, hopefully there are some of you African Americans and other minorities listen to this podcast. You're coming here. You're trying to make something of yourself, or you've been here your whole life and you're trying to achieve your dreams. Yet you happen to vote with a party that is telling you you can't do it. You keep putting people back into office that allow your city to be burnt down to the ground. You keep putting people in office that try to make you more comfortable rather than give you what you need to be successful. You keep putting people in office that want to make excuses, that want to bend the rules for you just so you don't fight as hard. Because after all, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough. That is false, and I break that off of you. You are smart enough. You are good enough. You were created with a story that needs to be written, but it's there. The basics are there. The desires are there. Now, what are you going to do to make it happen? What are you going to do to make it happen? Because let me tell you something. The Democrats aren't going to do it for you. Heck, I believe the Republicans are going to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. And you got to exercise your freedom. And you got to exercise your desire. And you have to put the two together, and you got to work hard. But if you do that, you work hard, you admit you don't have all the answers, and you genuinely go out with humility and try to build something great, you can do it. Absolutely, you can do it. You won't be the first. Oh, no. And that's the beauty of it. They want to make you feel like it's never been done, like you're trying to break some sort of glass ceiling. Well, it's been done. It's been done, which is good news because that means you can do it. And you can excel, and you can reach further and try to reach further than anyone else that has gone before you, but somebody has gone before you. And maybe that path isn't very worn, but that's all right. There is a path. All the way up to President of the United States, already been done. So what are we going to do, Minnesota? We have a governor that sits there and touts one Minnesota, but then doesn't do anything to bring us together. Just keeps sowing the seeds of division. We got to come together. We got to go back to our churches. We got to go back to meeting together as blacks and whites and browns. We can't continue to keep separate. We have to help each other with a hand up. Whether it's cleaning up a community after a natural disaster or a riot, or whether it's in building a business, or whether it's some other thing, some great organization, that an idea we have for an invention. You can do it. And the internet is the great equalizer. Nobody knows what color you are when you start a business and they go to your website. So what do? Well, the time has come for us to stand up together and say no more. You guys have been voting for the same party for decades upon decades upon decades. But let me tell you, there was a time when you voted for another party, a different party. That party freed you from slavery. That party wrote the original civil rights laws that the Democrats didn't want anything to do with. Now, yeah, there are some Republicans that are terrible, but maybe you're supposed to be one that's going to be really good. I think it's time you expand your horizons and you look at something else. And I'm not vouching for the Republicans here. I'm just saying, whether it's libertarian, whether it's whatever, you need to look at what you've done so far. Has it gotten you any better results? Those of us who think conservatively, you guys, a lot of you think the same way. Your families are important. You want to work hard and make something of yourself. You have desires that you want to achieve. You're against abortion. You're a lot more conservative than you think. And you know what? If we all put our heads together, we could come up with a society that is firing on all cylinders, and we would see innovations, and we would be able to go further than we've ever gone. And we could do it together. Because you are smart. You are good enough. Don't believe what they tell you. Not for one moment. So get a hold of us. Get a hold of us and let's start this conversation. You can do that at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That's commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. We'd love to just talk to you. See where you're at. Throw some ideas around. Because together we can create a better Minnesota. Not like a better Minnesota, which is creating a worse one, by the way. But a better Minnesota because it is individuals with a desire who want to make a difference. And they're putting everything into it to push the right things up. To not make everything political. We can do this. But we need you. We need your help. We're just going to throw out another podcast in another week and keep doing what we do. That's what we've committed to, is helping the state in any way that we can. To bring about the things that we believe in. God, family, hard work. I hope you're with us. We welcome you, and we would love to have you on our team. The other side, they just take it for granted. They really do. I know I'm babbling on and on and on, and I need to shut this thing down, but this is important. We're going to lose our country if we don't put the brakes on this, because we're headed in the wrong direction. We're going to careen over a cliff. We got to return back to our original principles. And no, not slavery. You progressives think you're funny. But all of you who can feel that in your heart, that know that we're headed in the wrong direction, we got to do something different, or we're not going to get a different result. So think about that for a week. Pass this podcast around to those you love, those you're friends with. and let's do something. Because we love you, Minnesota. But now it's your turn to get to work.
Take my life, caught a break between the lines. Don't let me be. If I get too caught up